This experience was fun, interesting, not as stressful as, like, I don't think it was as stressful for me that it was for other people, but it was very different adjusting to being around people that lie to you. Like, knowing that people are lying and still having to interact and communicate with them because lying is a part of the game for most people. That was a very interesting part for me because I normally don't interact with people who I don't trust. So, but yeah, the challenges were fun. That was the thing I liked the most, being in challenges. I love winning stuff. But overall, it was a cool experience, and I'm happy with how I played. Of course, I wanted to win $1 million, but I enjoyed the overall experience. I would look back on the experience with positive light. Oh, the social stuff hands down was the hardest part for me, and I figured the social part would be difficult because, again, I'm such a straight shooter. In regular life, I don't really talk fluff. I don't deal with fake and phony people, and I don't put myself in situations where I can't fully express my thoughts and my feelings. And here, regardless of what's happening, like, one thing I had to learn is you can't show all your cards. Like, you can't express everything. You actually are better off if you hide a lot of what you're thinking and feeling, because if you think too far ahead of other people, they get scared. Especially if your thinking reveals their plans. So the social part was difficult because it's the exact opposite of everything I would ever do in regular life. I think of that move in two ways. For Brett and Sunday, honestly, it doesn't make as much of a difference. But for Will and Jay, I think that in the short term, it looks like a smart move because I am a physical threat. I can beat both of them in challenges. And I am a strategic thinker, and I think faster than the both of them put together times 7, right? But long term, that was a bad mistake for them because I was the most trustworthy person in this entire game. So if I say that I'm going to 4 with you, I'm going to 4 with you, which meant that you had a clear path to 4 had you just stayed the course, right? So now what they've done is they've isolated themselves because no millennial will trust Jay or Will now that they voted somebody like me out. So they've isolated themselves and will play from the bottom for the rest of the game. I think regret is the right word when it comes down to the end goal, that I wanted to win $1 million, and had I changed my approach, I would win $1 million. So in that way, yes. But in the sense that it was a learning experience and I know exactly what I did wrong, no, because honestly, it shouldn't be wrong. Because had I been a male, nothing I did would have been wrong. But the fact that I'm a strong woman, and you can add a strong black woman in there, people aren't used to people like me. Like everyone else, you can kind of name a previous survivor that they're like. There's no Michaela that's played Survivor before. You haven't had a me on this show. And so people don't know what to do with me when you find somebody that's athletically competitive, that's smart, and that's going to get to the end of this game confidently without lying to a bunch of people or making a jury full of enemies. That's scary for anybody. I'm the scariest person to have at the end of this game, and had I made it to the merge, I would have been there. And so I think if I was a dude, that would have been a respectful way to win. But because I'm a woman, it made it even more scary for a man to be aligned with me. I think my strategy really could have worked, but the flaw in my strategy was, in real life, trust is a character trait. Like, trustworthiness is a character trait. So if you're a trustworthy person, then I can trust you for the foreseeable future. In Survivor, trustworthiness and loyalty is a day-by-day thing. And I didn't necessarily come with that mentality. It took me too long to realize that a person who maybe was untrustworthy last week in a swap might be more trustworthy, or a person that was really trustworthy last week for whatever reason now is not. And I wasn't prepared to cut ties when I saw the red flags because I thought that ties would continue. But this is a new game. Like, you don't end the game with people you start the game with these days, it seems like. I'm 100% proud of how I played. Like, I love the fact that I told 0 lies. I love the fact that even when I started mistrusting people, like when I started mistrusting Michelle, because I realized that the final 3 thing, the numbers were not adding up for me to be final 3 with Michelle. It didn't look right. But even though I knew she had lied to me and was making other plans without me, despite what she told me, I was still not willing to write her name down because I said I wouldn't. And I was going to devise a plan where she could go home without me having to go back on my promise of writing her name down. So it just, like, everything about who I am character-wise stayed consistent in this game. And I love that because that's who I am. And had I come out here and tried to play somebody else's game and lied to everybody and been deceitful and acted a fool, then I would be really embarrassed for this to air. But I didn't. So I'm happy about that. So this experience for me was fun. I mean, it reaffirmed a lot of things that I already knew about myself, gave me some interesting things to think about. But more than anything, it was an awesome experience. I did not come here for the experience. I came here for $1 million. And when people would say stuff like, I just want to make it to the merge, that's my goal, I thought they were crazy. When people would say, I've been dreaming about this experience and, you know, I'm just so happy to be here, I thought they were crazy. Every day for me was about getting to the end. And now that it's over, even though I didn't accomplish the only goal that put me on this island, which was $1 million, even though I did not accomplish that, I'm happy. Like, I'm happy that I had the experience, and I'm happy that when you took away everything that makes life comfortable, my true character showed, and it showed that I'm a honest, hardworking person of integrity, and there's nothing that will take me away from that. I like that. I like that I showed who I really am, and I'm who I thought I was. I'm 100% happy with that.